I'm obsessed with this song. It literally gives me goosebumps and makes me cry. I don't know why. It's Love Story by Indila. It's like a TikTok song, but when I listen to it, I just get goosebumps like all down my back, and it just makes me have tears in my eyes. I can't describe it to you. I think I'm also a bit highly emotional because we've just had a Raimi launch and we had it 2 days ago and it's done so well. Like, I did not think this launch was gonna do well. Well, not that I didn't think it was gonna do well, but I was like, okay, let's see, like, it's summer, people are spending their money on like travel and like holidays and I don't know, like new outfits for summer, wedding, there's a lot of wedding stuff happening. It did so well, and one of our products sold out in like 11 minutes. I'm literally wearing everything new now. Like, these are our new marigold hoops. They're my favorite hoops for like every day. And then these are our Harpers. These have done really well, probably the best from this launch are the bright pink Harpers. And these are the Amelia Huggies, which come in 4 colours. What am I wearing on this ear? I think similar. Basically, this launch was summer colours. So it's been seriously amazing. Oh, by the way, this dress is so incredible. Look at it. It's like the girliest thing for me right now. Like, I never really wear these kind of clothes anymore. Let me just show you full. The straps keep falling down on me because I have no torso. It like doesn't stay up. I probably need to alter them, but look at this. Isn't it sweet? It's very like old schooly French vibes. I'm gonna link it down below in case you like it. So we is gonna do a little Q&A today because I feel like there's a lot of questions that I keep seeing in my DMs that I feel like people want answers to. So let's do it together. I'm just gonna sit and get comfy. I haven't actually shown you around my bedroom yet. I'm waiting for a few more things. What am I waiting for? 1, 2, 3 more things in here, and then I'll show you around. August is going to be a big month in the house because even though the renovations, the main part of the renovations are done, so much hasn't been finished. And a lot of questions came up about that too. Hold on. Okay, this was the question that probably came up the most, and a lot of people have been noticing this and commenting on it, and it was something I felt like I kind of wanted to address in like a more sit down video because it is true. It is true. I can't deny it at all. So the comment is, you've changed and not just your style. So firstly, let's address the style question because the skirt, because mine is today where I'm wearing a floral print and a dress that isn't really me anymore. Like, I felt like this one's kind of different because it's a bit more of a corset style, but my style over the past like 6 months, I would say, has drastically changed so much to the point now where I want to put on some clothes, some summer clothes, and I don't like any of my summer clothes from last year because I just feel like they're not my style anymore. Like Zimmermann dresses that I bought last year, I just don't feel like they're me anymore. I can't describe it to you. It's like I'm this caterpillar that's like come out its little cocoon, and I look at the things like that I love, like they're all stunning, I love them, but I put them on and it does not feel like me. I put on these clothes and unless I'm in something like a bit more masculine, a bit more structured, way less patterned, it just doesn't feel like me at all. Now this is really funny because I'm literally in a patterned dress today, but this felt different to me. This felt slightly more, I guess, like old school vibes because of the corset and a bit more French and like the structured neckline rather than like floaty big puffy sleeves, you know. So that's been really interesting. So you may have noticed that because I've been selling so much stuff on Depop, and also generally when I post my outfits now I just get so many DMs being like, you've changed, you've changed, you've changed, because I would never normally wear like a grey oversized suit like this time last year. I wouldn't even own that. And so many clothes I was actually sent last year that I didn't get around to wearing because I didn't like them, I love now. It's funny how I've never really had a style evolution like that. I've never had my style like change so drastically, and I think the reason it changed so drastically was because my personality also changed. I think it was like during COVID, but coming out the other side of like the COVID lockdowns, I'm like swimming because we were all drowning. In lockdown I was drowning. I don't know about you, but I was struggling to stay afloat, especially post those lockdowns, and even just talking about it I just started swimming. What was that? That was so weird. And I think that just made me a much hardier person. Also, doing this house made me just changed my personality so much. Like, I used to, it sounds pretty bad, but I used to be a much nicer person, and I'm just a much hardier person now. I think working with all men for pretty much 10 months. I don't know if anyone in like a corporate environment that works with all men all the time feels like this, but in my day-to-day life, I mainly deal with women, and dealing with all men that didn't like dealing with a single woman for 9 months pretty much, until I switched teams, which was amazing. But dealing for the majority of the house with men that weren't really used to dealing with women or like dealing with women was really challenging. That I basically had to start. Normally my behavior would be being really nice and sweet and just normal, and I had to make myself really like cold and stern and hard, and that was the only way that I would kind of like get stuff done or get things over the line or get answers to different questions. So that change in my personal life made like kind of like grew onto my actual style as well. It's so weird and kind of interesting actually, because that's never really happened to me before, and I feel like now my personality is much more straightforward. I have a much lower tolerance to BS. Like my tolerance to BS is absolutely nil anymore, and I think my patience is really tested during this house. I'm so curious if anyone else had a similar experience to me, because anytime I've said something about the house online, loads of people say it's like a norm in the industry and blah blah whatever. So please let me know your experience. So in summary, I guess it's kind of natural that people would change over time. This change was probably more sped up because of COVID and because of doing up this house, and I feel like my style change was probably due, to be honest. Like I've had a really similar style like my whole adult life. I kind of just needed something a bit different in my life, like style wise. I know people are going to ask about my hair. I don't think I'm going to cut off all my hair anytime soon. I don't think the style evolution will go that far. And the other thing that people have commented on, which is so funny that people even notice, is that I don't wear shimmer eyeshadow anymore. I like rarely wear shimmer eyeshadow, so right now I'm wearing like all mattes, can you see? And I just felt like this was a change that I kind of needed to address. Not my eyeshadow, but just like generally, because I don't know, maybe I'm just less girly now, she says in her pink floral dress. Did you design your patio all yourself? It looks like a chic cafe. Oh, thank you so much. I knew pretty much what I wanted from the get-go. Like with the bedroom, I went through so many different plans with Rebecca and her team, with the dining room, with the living room, with the patio. I was like, that's what I'm ordering, that's what I'm ordering, that's what I'm ordering, that's what I want on that wall. And even like Rebecca tried to change a couple of things. Like she was like, how about we put the mirror on this wall? I was like, no, it's going on that wall. I think because the patio was the last thing I did in the house, I was the most specific about that, and I'd probably been sitting thinking about it in the background for like 9 months. So by the time it got to actually doing it, I was like, this is exactly what I want. So yeah, I did design it myself, and I'm so happy with how it came out. I had help from Rebecca's team, from the Farrah Balls team. The Cornerstone team were incredible. I was picking out colours for the flooring. That was the first thing I chose, and that kind of like set the theme for the rest of the patio. So once I had the flooring colour, I could choose the paint colours, I could choose the furniture. I would just highly recommend getting samples for absolutely everything and just collating all your samples together and like putting them all out so you can actually see the theme that's going down. Oh, and also just leave the samples out. Just leave them around. I just left everything downstairs on the floor so I could walk past and see it and just fester and simmer in it, you know? When do we get to see the shroom? Oh, a couple of house questions. So the shroom, we have run into a little problem. I have the most incredible shroom team to build my dressing room. Shroom is shoe room, by the way, which is basically just dressing room. And I have the most incredible team, McGarry Interiors, who are building the whole thing. The only thing that they're not doing is my panels. I have some fabric panels. They actually did say they could do them for me, and I was like, no, don't worry, we'll get them for an upholsterer. Shouldn't have done that, should I? Should have just let them do their thing. Anyway, we've had a bit of trouble with the fabric panels and the fabric width. We actually had the fabric panels made, they weren't right at all, and then I decided I didn't actually like the fabric when it was up anyway, so I was like, well, now we have to change them anyway, I might as well change the fabric. So then we went and got new fabric, and anyway, it's been a whole shebang. But I'm not just having a wardrobe door, I'm having a fabric part of the wardrobe door, which you'll see in the shroom when I show you. Actually, I think I put it on my stories on the Amelia Liana home account, so if you really want to see, you can go look at the home account shroom stories of the inspiration and the CGIs. Hopefully that's going to be soon, so hopefully next week I'm going to get the sample fabric panel then once that's approved, then it's going to be a week later for those to be made, and then Tom and the team are going to come back probably a week after that. So I guess we're looking at July for the shroom reveal, which I haven't really minded because most of it is built and all my clothes are in it, so that's ace because I can use it. I'm not living out of boxes because that was so long. Another question. When do we get to see the shroom reveal? Gastro and tummy update. Any advice you were able to share? So those of you that don't know, I have something called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It is the bane of my life. I would say the 6 months when I was kind of living in no man's land, basically, between when my rental was up and before I moved in here, when I was coming here every day and I was basically living out of boxes for 6 months. I didn't use a kitchen. I ordered in every day. I had crisps, chocolate, sweets, like all sorts for lunch and dinner, and that really took a toll on my SIBO. SIBO, if you don't know, feeds off starches, sugars. It was really bad, and I didn't notice it at the time. I think I was just so like go, and as soon as I stopped and as soon as I moved in here, everything came down on my body like a ton of weight, and it just wasn't good. So I'm trying now to do 5 days a week where I am super healthy, I move my body, I don't drink, which is really hard. I don't normally end up doing 5 days a week of no drinking. I probably end up doing 3 days a week of no drinking, especially in the summer with wine. And advice I would say is, for me personally, like when it got to December time, I made the mistake, which I've already made in my life, of taking antibiotics, and they just didn't work for me at all. Antibiotics and me just don't agree. They just make my body so much worse. They literally take everything out of my gut and I'm just left feeling raw. So my number one advice would actually be to try natural supplements. I actually got one of the side effects that I get from SIBO is I get really bad cystitis and thrush. Sorry, it's mainly women watching this anyway, so it's fine. But anyway, I get really bad cystitis and thrush, and I actually was given the cystitis antibiotics, and I was on day 2 of my herbal medication, which is actually called, oh, what's it called? I'm going to link it on Amazon. It's so good. Waterfall Demonose, I think. And I was on day 2 of that, and I was like, I don't want to take this antibiotic, and I didn't take it, and I powered through the natural stuff, and it went. And literally my doctor friend was like, just take the antibiotic because it's not going to go otherwise, and it went with the natural stuff. So I would say try and feed your body naturally and not go down antibiotics if you can, if that's an option for you. That would be my number one piece of advice, which I forgot to even give myself in December, and I'm still paying for the results. Will you film a complete house tour, kind of like a walkthrough? Well, if the whole house was finished at once, then yes. However, I think it will be better to do it in rooms because everything's finishing at totally different times. Like my living room I still have to do, my dining room I still have to do, my bedroom, dressing room, one of the bathrooms. Basically whatever I finish, which is actually 1, 2, 3, including the patio, I've filmed, and it's on my channel and on my Instagram. So those 3 are finished, but there are quite a few other things that need to finish. So I kind of like that they're going to finish at all different times, and I'll show you them as and when they're finished because I'll just get too impatient to show you otherwise. If I'm waiting for the whole house to be finished, we're going to be here till Timbuktu. You never talk about your work. Tell us more. You know what? I don't ever really talk about it, which is so funny because it comes from like an imposter syndrome thing, which isn't very good, I don't think. Like, that's not a very healthy place to be. It comes from, honestly, like hate comments, not even from now, from like way back in the day, like 8 years ago, when I'd say like, oh, I've spent a lot of the day working today. Like, if I said that on YouTube, people would be like, well, what do? You just take selfies. And I feel like times are so different now, whereas like now most people you know have some sort of social media account, either for work or for personal, or I guess, right? Is that true? I feel like maybe that's just my assumption. Or you've tried it yourself to make a home account or a food account or a beauty account or whatever it may be. It's less unfamiliar maybe. So yeah, maybe now is maybe the time for me to get, I'm like, maybe now is maybe the time to maybe get over my fear. So, work. I'm totally joking. So I guess I'll start with like the Amelia Liana side of things, which is all my platforms. So I post on YouTube, Instagram, my home account, the stories on my account and the home account, my TikTok, YouTube Shorts, my blog. What am I missing? That's 8 platforms. I'm definitely missing one. That's it, I think. Oh, and my podcast, which is coming back soon. So 9. 9 different platforms, which is a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Like, to anyone that's ever had an Instagram or done anything like that, you will know that that is low. That is actually a lot, and I'm super proud that we're able to post consistently across all those platforms. I know I haven't done my podcast. I stopped it during lockdown because, like, no one was commuting, so no one was listening to podcasts, but now it's coming back officially. Then on the other side of things is Raimi, which is my jewelry brand, which we have a website for and an Instagram stories, and we have like multiple launches throughout the year. So it is really busy. It's definitely a lot compared to a lot of other creators that I see online, and sometimes I'm honestly quite envious of them, and I'm like, why do I put so much on my own plate? And then at the same time, I love the busyness of life. Like, I like being really busy and filling my plate with loads of things. And my cousin said something to me the other day which really like struck true with me. She said, something's always suffering. She was like, either my job's suffering or my husband's suffering, as in like some relationship is always suffering, or my relationship with my kids is suffering, or my relationship with my friends are suffering. And I was like, that's kind of how I feel like putting so many things on my own plate. Like, either Raimi is suffering, or my TikTok account is suffering, or my like something. And I kind of liked hearing that from her, and I feel like that's something we all need to remember, is that you can never do everything perfectly all the time. Note to self. As you guys know, I was looking recently for a personal assistant. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know, just to take a lot of different admin tasks off my plate and also Pia's plate, so that we're able to fully like grow and flourish and do our day-to-day jobs like way better. And I'm also looking for someone to do the day-to-day managing of Raimi, because that is, whoo, I would say, like, when I look at other bloggers online, I don't know many bloggers that like have a brand and post on as many platforms. Like, sometimes I'm like, is that really what is this really what? Now it sounds really bad. It sounds like I'm like tooting a horn, which is why I don't talk about work, because it's like sounds like really bad sometimes, you know what I mean? Are you traveling with your family this summer? Yes, I am. I actually just got confirmation, because I was really worried about my passport that I wouldn't be able to fly to Turkey, but I am able to fly. We are going on a gullet, me and my cousins and our parents and everything, and it's going to be really fun. We're going for a gullet around Turkey, which is going to be really cool. I've never like stayed on a gullet before, and I have never really spent that much time in Turkey. So if anyone has any recommendations, let me know. I'm not sure where exactly we're going yet. We have left the parents to deal with that, so I'll let you know as soon as I know. Why not laser the sides of your face? No hate, just curious. This comment made me laugh because I have really, really hairy sides of my face, like really bad. Like, I am Indian and Arab, so this is like the hair genes have all saved themselves for my sideburns. I did a test patch to laser the side of my face once, and there are some areas of you that can stimulate hair growth, and I did a test patch, and that patch is right here. That patch got way hairier, so it stimulated the hair growth on the side of my face, which was so annoying because I really would not like to have a hairy face. And I do electrolysis, but for anyone that does electrolysis, you'll know it's like they go in each tiny hair. It takes like half an hour and you've got rid of like 10 hairs, so it's really pointless. So I just kind of deal with it, I guess. Why did you decide to start weight training? So it got to Christmas time. I hadn't done any weight training yet. I'd just done Pilates for a couple months. It got to Christmas time and I was like, I'm so weak. Like, I can't even lift things, because we were lugging so many boxes because I'd moved so many times, and I was like, I can't really lift what I want to be lifting. I can't do anything. Like, I can't open my freaking water bottle like properly without asking someone, and I just want to feel stronger in my body. So I started lifting weights and doing weight training, and I loved it. I did notice actually a couple weeks ago that my arms had got like much musclier, and I've always had muscly arms, but like they had got a bit musclier, so I'm gonna kind of tone it down a bit. I think naturally when I go away in summer and stuff it will go down, but I did, sorry, I'm putting my shoulders up because otherwise this dress like falls down, but I did notice my arms were like a bit more muscly, and I was like, no, I don't, you guys know, like, I don't like my shoulders. I don't want them to look more muscly. What was the unplanned biggest splurge and save during the renovation? Beautiful house. Biggest splurge. Oh, the most unplanned biggest splurge. I had no idea about joinery. Joinery is really expensive. For my wardrobes in my bedroom, I didn't do my due diligence. I went with the first company that I quoted, which I think I was just in such a rush to get them done that I really rushed them, and I would definitely recommend like sending drawings out to multiple different people to get quote and just to compare. My dressing room joinery I have been so happy with. Like I said, that was done by McGarry Interiors, and I think they're really reasonable cost comparatively. Oh, another big splurge is air conditioning. Air conditioning I have in 3 rooms, and oh my gosh, on the days where it gets really muggy here, I basically got air conditioning for my dog, which is a big splurge. But Duke has asthma and he gets really hot, and if he gets too hot then he can't really breathe and he's like and it's just, even though the vet says like he's not so uncomfortable, it's just like uncomfortable to kind of listen to, and I just don't believe him. Like surely breathing like it's just not comfortable for him. So I don't understand how he's like, oh, he's totally fine, and Duke is like you know what I mean? I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I got air conditioning, and every time he comes in I'm so happy. All the days that it's been hot and he's been here, he's like because it's freezing because it's so cold, and his asthma doesn't get as bad. So that was a big splurge. And biggest save, well, it says safe, but I assume you mean save, I would actually say is Etsy in general. I would love to work with Etsy. If anyone is watching this that works at Etsy, please let me know because I love you. I bought so many things on Etsy. If I found vintage pieces that I really liked that were like well into the thousands, I'd screenshot them and I'd put them into Etsy so that you can see like multiple dupes that come up. So like rattan mirrors, stools, lights, like I got my runner in my kitchen from Etsy, like all those kind of things. Any sort of like homemade pieces, all Etsy, love. Are you ever sad and depressed? Yes. Who isn't? I'm sorry, but if you're not ever sad, then like, are you normal? Yes, I am. I actually had, I call them depressed weekends. I had a depressed weekend like 2 weekends ago. That's literally where I stay in my bed all day in the dark, and I don't do anything. I literally watch TV, I eat breakfast, lunch and dinner in bed, and I just let myself do that because I know that it will pass. And even at the time I don't really think it's gonna pass, but I'm like, okay, maybe tomorrow. And then Sunday comes and I'm like, nope, I'm staying in bed as well today. And I think sometimes it's just like either my to-do list is too long, or like the weight of the world just kind of like gets me down. As you know, the waves, things come and go in waves. If I let myself do that, I somehow miraculously plan it on a weekend, go me. But if I let myself do that, then come Monday morning, I'll be like, right, time to put yourself together again. I don't really let myself do that like during the week, but it just so happens on the weekends. I think that's because when I stop and I'm like, huh, that's why I'm so grateful for my job, because it like, even if you are sad and depressed, it gives you like, when I have been in my life, it's given me like a routine and a structure and a purpose. Like, I'm like, okay, I have to get out of bed today. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so grateful for that. Have you been locked in again since Jack got you out? No, because my amazing builders came around and this is the new team that I absolutely love, and they changed all the locks on the doors. So that's good. And their handles, they said, were like stiff or put in wrong or whatever. Are you going to France this summer? Yes I am. My friend is getting married in France in 2 weeks. I'm actually going to France this Wednesday on a press trip, and then I'm going back to France in August as well. France is my happy place, so I'm so happy. Biggest regret with the new house. It's so stunning, by the way, thank you. I think a lot of cost-cutting corners that I tried to make, I paid for later, which is one of the biggest pieces of advice I just told my friend who's doing up her house. Every time I tried to cut cost corners, I ended up paying for it later down the line. So unless it's like, you know, buying I'm talking about structural development, building work, unless it's like I bought this stool instead of that expensive stool. I'm not talking about those kind of cost cuttings. I'm talking about, you know, like flooring, walls, sanding, any electricals, like anything like that. I ended up paying for it later down the line. So I wouldn't do that again. Are you still on your year of not dating? How is that going? So if you don't know, I did a year of being single. It went really well. Like it finished like April, May time, I think. February, March, April, May, beginning of this year kind of vibes. Honestly, since then, like I haven't really had time to go on that many dates. I don't know how. I just feel like every weekend I've had like a wedding or like a party or a friend's birthday or like a something, so I haven't really had that much time. Where would you go if you were to get married? If you were getting married again, would you go back to south of France? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I'd love like a garden square wedding. Like, oh my gosh, have you guys been to the Chelsea Physic Garden? If you come to London, you should go. It's so beautiful. It's so pretty. Something like garden square vibes, even though the weather in London is completely unpredictable. It's almost beginning of July and it was literally raining this morning and sunny this afternoon. So, Do you think you'll keep the blonde? I think it suits you. Thank you. Well, it was much blonder before and it's kind of got darker. Well, the blonde is still kind of there, but I'm definitely going to keep it. I think I will actually go blonder again. I went a tiny bit darker after I originally first got the blonde and now I regret it because I like being lighter, especially for summer. Summer travel plans. So this has come up a couple times. So I'm going to Turkey with my family on the gullet. I have a friend's wedding in France and last year Guy and Jack and I did a like summer camp vibe where the three of us went away, and we're going to do that again this year after my friend's wedding. I think we're going to stay in France, and then I'm also going to France and Italy in September, and then Pia and I are going back to my favorite place in the whole world, Lake Como, in September as well. Well, beginning of September, like end of August time. Oh, and I have 4 weddings this summer. Have you ever been approached to be on MIC, which is a show in the UK called Made in Chelsea, or TV? No, I actually haven't. I haven't been asked to be on Made in Chelsea. A couple of my friends were when they first started. Any goals for this next stage of your life? I saw this quote the other day and it was like 20s are for hustling, 30s are for enjoying the seeds that you've sown in your 20s or something. And I was like, huh. That's interesting. Maybe that should be the vibe. I guess goals for 30s are to start a family at some point. That would be amazing. Did the nose job change your self-esteem? Not really. I'm not super happy with it, to be honest. I think I need a correction, but I just can't be bothered, and I don't like general anesthetic. I don't like putting my body through that. So did it change my self-esteem? No. I would say I'm still self-conscious about my nose, and I think a part of that is also that even if I'm like Voldemort with no nose, I'll always be self-conscious, but there are still issues that I see and that I have that I think need to be redone, and at some point I will do that. Tell us about the white thing in your arm. Okay, so this I've had in and out of my arm for the past couple of months. This is a glucose monitor, which is super interesting. As you guys know, I literally said beginning of this video sometime, like my SIBO has been really bad. So you basically scan it and it tells you your glucose levels. Anyone that's diabetic will have probably heard of having a glucose monitor. This is from an app. I actually got served them on Instagram called Viri, and I typed them in and I just read reviews about them and I was like, okay, let me try it. It's a month-long subscription. Worst case, like I find out some interesting things about my body. You basically get to see like your glucose levels throughout the day. So for example, yesterday I had some sugar. Can you see that? Your chocolate, some chocolate there, good times. It's taught me some really interesting things, especially with how my body reacts to different foods. For example, if I eat a salad and then I have something sugary, my glucose won't spike. And basically not having spikes in your glucose is really good for SIBO. But if I have something sugary on its own without eating like something salady or green before, it will go whee! And then down again, and then it will go down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and that sort of like yo-yoing is just really bad for SIBO. A lot of this you can find out on the Glucose Goddess Instagram if you're interested. And the other things I found out really interesting were after having certain types of food that have a lot of sugar in them, for example Chinese food, I went to have Chinese food and for 2 days my body was just doing this without prompting, like even when I was sleeping. So I think Chinese food was going to be a rare occasion for me. So everyone is begging me to take it out my arm. Pia, my sister, my friends are literally like, please take it out your arm. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of people and everyone notices it. But I found it really interesting for SIBO. But if you don't need it for like diabetic purposes, once you have had it in for a couple months and seen how your body reacts to different things, it's kind of I've learned, I feel like I've learned everything I'm gonna learn from it. Woo! I've talked for a very long time. Let's have a tea. I hope everything with you is all good in the hood and that you have a wonderful start to July. If you have supported our latest Raimi launch, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Please send me pictures of what you're wearing. I'm going to France pretty much as you're watching this, like in the next couple days. So I will see you over on Instagram and back with a weekly vlog next Sunday. Mwah! Have a great week, guys. Bye!